Thanks for coming out and watching the oxymoronic Reddit Professional Show, where I showcase the best and worst of the internet. Here I comment on brilliant and hilarious comment chains regarding dumb shit on the internet for you to enjoy. Make sure to subscribe, hit the little bell button so that you get notifications every time we come up with a new video. Enjoy this week's show.
Uncle Baxter's Real Estate Finance 101. Time to gather around the campfire for the first installation of Uncle Baxter's Real Estate Finance 101. After observing the subreddit for some time now, I feel that my background and experience can be useful for the community. I hope this post can serve as a tool or foundation of knowledge for eager investors who are just starting off. In today's fireside chat, we will cover the basics of real estate investing finance on multifamily properties, including, but not limited to, a deep dive into the pro forma as well as various key asset and market metrics. May even dabble in a hypothetical deal. What is the ultimately goal of real estate investing? Rather, what is your goal of real estate investing? Understanding and answering this question honestly is the first step, as this answer will determine your business strategy. A multimillionaire dentist with a dental practice grossing $3 million annually who is looking for asset diversification will have a much different strategy than a recently graduated college student making $60,000 who is looking for long-term wealth creation. Let's first look at the variety of multifamily properties. Multifamily properties are generally broken down into four categories. Class A, newly built product with first-class amenities and finishes. 3%, 7% vacancy, time it's not rented, with no short-term major capital improvements. Class B, built within the last 20 years with good amenities and okay finishes. 10% vacancy with some short-term major capital improvements. Class C, working class, product built within the last 30 years with dated amenities and finishes. 10%, 15% vacancy with near-term major capital improvements. Class D, dilapidated product over 30 years old with no amenities and worn finished. 10%, 15% vacancy with immediate major capital improvements. Let's put ourselves in the shoes of the dentist from above for a moment. We have already created wealth and are looking for an alternative asset to diversify into. Where do we go? Often, we are looking for a turnkey, ready for immediate use, Class A asset that will require no true knowledge of real estate that can kick off 4 to 8% a year. Where the recently graduated college student is hungrier for wealth creation and will take on the additional risk of lightly rehabilitating the Class B or Class C asset for a higher return. Let this serve as an ideological framework. However, for matters of today's lesson, let's assume that we are looking for wealth creation. Let's say that a long-lost cousin Cornelius, comes to you out of the blue with a home-run real estate deal that will only cost you $300,000. Should you blindly agree and purchase it immediately? Probably not. What do you need to understand further in order to justify that purchase price? Let's break down Cousin Cornelius' home run deal. Some important facts to consider. The asset is a Class B quadplex in a well-known area in the market. The units in the asset are under market in terms of finishes and appliances. The units are currently rented for $900 each. The market rents for similar more slightly upgraded units are $1,100. The cost to upgrade the units to market are $5,000 per unit and will take a month to renovate. So where do you begin? First and foremost, let's understand the revenues this asset is producing. Revenues come from the units that are rented. For units times $900 equals $3,600 per month or $43,200 per year. This is our gross income, and in a perfect world, what we would take home every year. Unfortunately, the world sucks and takes most, if not everything from you, but I digress. If a tenant moves out or does not renew the lease, how long will it take to fill that unit? If the unit doesn't fill, what is the cost associated with that? The cost will be 100% to you, and it is in the form of lost rent. This is called our vacancy expense, which we will assume conservatively at 15% of our gross income. This means that we will not have a tenant in any given unit, on average, 15% of the time. We will deduct this from our gross income. $43,200 less $6,480 equals $36,720. This is our effective gross income. Now, each asset has unique characteristics and qualities that drive operating expenses. This particular property has an unruly lawn that needs mowing, as well as property taxes, property insurance, water and sewer expenses, garbage removal, and general cleaning, bringing our annual operating expenses to $12,852. Furthermore, we have no intention of organizing and maintaining this property ourselves, so we are going to hire a property manager, Jose, who charges a flat 10% fee of gross income, $4,320. From our effective gross income of $36,720, we now deduct $12,852 in operating expenses and $4,320 in property management fees, leaving us with $19,548. This is our net operating income. From our net operating income, we can now derive one of the most important metrics in multifamily investing, the capitalization rate. The capitalization rate, or cap rate, is a measure of the rate of return generated on an investment property, and risk, but that's for another post. Cap rate equals net operating income / purchase price. Our net operating income is $19,548 and our purchase price is $300,000, giving us an implied cap rate of 6.51%. Why is this important? Cap rates don't really mean all that much by themselves, but they are a useful tool for in-market asset comparisons. For instance, if the exact same house with the exact same financial situation was next door for sale for a price of $275,000, an implied cap rate of 7.11%, would it be a good investment? Well, we don't yet know if it would be a good investment, but we do know it would be a better investment than purchasing the same asset for $300,000. You can apply cap rates to net operating income to give a rough purchase price. Conversely, you can apply a cap rate to a purchase price to understand an asset's net operating income. We can't forget that once a decade we will need to replace the roof, or boiler, or floors, or electrical wiring, or driveway, or literally anything major in the house. This is separate and apart from general operating expenses. There are major expenses associated with these types of improvements, which are called capital improvements. Typically, 10% of an asset's net operating income should be set aside to cover these types of improvements. In this case, $1,954 should be withheld, leaving us with $17,593 in annual cash flow to take home to our piggy banks. Without any leverage, debt, we are taking home $17,593 a year on an investment of $300,000, giving us an unleveraged 5.86% cash-on-cash return, cash flow / purchase price. Meh, pretty lousy if you ask me. But wait. The units can be renovated, and we can command a higher rent from those units with the renovation. For an additional $5,000 per unit, or $20,000, we can increase our monthly per unit rent to $1,100. This brings our gross income to $52,800, our vacancy loss to $7,920, and our effective gross income to $44,880. Our expenses of $12,852 won't change, though. Our property management fee, which follows gross income, increases to $5,280. Our net operating income has now increased to $26,748. Saving 10% for capital expenditures, we can now take home $24,073 in annual cash flow. However, our cost basis, purchase price and improvements, has also increased, from $300,000 to $320,000, and our unleveraged cash-on-cash return is now 7.52%, up from 5.86%. Let's revisit the initial question I posed before: what is your goal of real estate investing? From the perspective of the recently graduated college student who is looking for wealth creation, I'm going to go tell cousin Cornelius to go kick rocks. No way in hell would I purchase this quadplex in need of $20,000 in rehab when I can park my money in an index fund and get a similar return in the stock market. Maybe if I could pick this property up for 10% less, but even then, the profit margin may be too thin for this. From the perspective of the dentist, this deal may be too small and too labor-intensive and may not be worth their time and money. Different strokes for different folks, but this deal won't really appeal to either of our fictional alter personalities. I hope this can be a good starting point for how to go about looking at deals and a preliminary understanding of the finance behind successful real estate investing. Next time I will incorporate in the concept of leverage and how it can be used to better or worsen the returns from this investment opportunity. You may just want to keep cousin Cornelius on speed dial. Until next time, Uncle Baxter. Great post. As someone who is trying to sell a Class B quadplex for $400,000, with $1,000 per unit rents, this made me a bit sad. It's just an example with numbers I literally made up after 2 whiskeys. Don't get discouraged. This post has no bearing on any actual market. Get a good broker, multifamily is hot, I'm sure you'll be able to sell that bad boy in no time. Haha, I'm not particularly worried. I'm actually the listing agent, and the returns would be very fair for a buyer. It's been on the market for a little while, mostly because it spent 60 days under contract with some out-of-state buyers. They eventually decided to invest in office spaces, instead of residential, and cited some BS reason from the inspection report. Then COVID showed up. I've got a buyer who plans to offer this week, but I'm not hopeful that an appraiser will have any idea how to value this. The numbers pencil out well, but 4 family is supposed to be based on comps, and there simply are no comps anywhere nearby. I honestly feel like all of this is rather obvious to anyone who knows a tiny bit about finance and investing. I think the hard part and what is really only needed help from is trying to come up with those estimates. How do you determine what class something is? How do you determine how much renovations would cost, etc.? Doing the calculations is the easy part. Coming up with the numbers is the hard part. Agreed. I wanted to start at square one to build concepts that we will develop further. I am a developer by trade with a background in analytics and data science. I promise we will get to cost estimation and assumption discovery in due time. For the time being, I'm getting those who are less well versed than yourself up to speed. I see what you are doing here, but cap rate is not applicable to SFH. Cap rate assumes that price is affected by rents. Better to use the right terminology when educating people and use ROI. As I'm sure you are aware, the value of a 4PLEX is still set by the market, and you can only influence it by bringing it to market conditions, not by adding NOI. Thanks for the input, Ashon, and you're right, cap rates have no place in SFH investing. This is a focus into multifamily real estate finance. To your second point, that value is set by the market. You're technically right, but you need to understand that the value isn't arbitrary, and that the value is derived through cash flow analysis of an asset's long-term financial health and viability. An asset that produces a higher NOI than some other identical asset will command a higher price point due to the fact that it has a healthier cash flow. Not in a 4plex, it doesn't. Still classified financing-wise as a SFH. No appraiser adds value to a 4PLEX because of cash flow, operating expenses, or any of the other NOI increasing tricks, laundry ops. The value is decoupled from the cash flow. It's based purely on comp sales. While there may be macroeconomic forces where we pay extra for cash flow, yes, I'd agree that there is intrinsically a value placed on a cash-flowing asset, but NOI/cap does not give a PP in anything for, and I argue 20, but that's a different debate. So since you are talking about a 4PLEX, I feel you do a disservice to the sub by treating it as if it is anything other than a SFH. But I do think you are doing good works by sharing your knowledge. There aren't enough of us here doing full write-ups. I appreciate what you are doing for the community, but I think it's disingenuous to be putting in what you think vacancy ranges are for the different class buildings. This will vary wildly between NYC and, say, Dayton, Ohio. Cap rate equals net operating income/purchase price. This is incorrect. The denominator should be the value of the property, which is only equal to the purchase price at the time of a transaction. Also, you really should not be using the term multifamily in the first half of the post when discussing quadplexes in the second half. The risk profiles are completely different. A multifamily property's value is based on NOI, and the rents and vacancies are generally low and stable. A 4plex, when a tenant leases or doesn't pay rent, that is 25% of your rent for the property. SFH, 2-family, and 4-family valuations are based on comps, not cap rates, which is related to comps since in multifamily the rents you derive come from comparable rents, I guess. I agree there is a lot of guru-type glazing over the details and not being specific enough to really help newbies out. I hope the mods were wondering about the guru stance from this guy, and I hope if he continues, he gets verified. There's a lot of regurgitated information here without anything specific or telling that indicates this person is an active and good investor.
If you enjoyed this week's effective way to waste time, hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. If you are enjoying the series, leave me a comment below. A special shout out to the content creators. You frickin' rock.